Today we are making 4 cards with the beautiful foiling products of super sponsor Kreativschatzkiste and with sketches from Kendra's card challenge. I'm going to make 2 versions of the same sketch, and I'm going to change up the positioning of the paper on the sketch to show you how you can change the look of a card just based on the papers you use. This video is also part of a giveaway hope, so stay tuned for more information. My name is Julia and I'm an enthusiastic card maker and paper crafter from Austria. Welcome to my channel, Julie's Kreativschatzkiste. Kendra's Card Challenge 18 super sponsor Kreativschatzkiste generously sent me and some design team colleagues of mine some beautiful products to make cards. And these are the products I'm going to use today. Of course, they are all linked in my description box. There's some beautiful gold foil with stars included in it. There's a beautiful flower paper which I really love. And then I'm going to use these foil art sheets, which we're going to foil as well as color. Finally, there are some great sentiments. There are the foil art sheets for the big smile, and then there are additional foil art sheets with smaller sentiments, which perfectly complement the big smile, and I'm going to use them today as well. Alright, before I can put my cards together, of course I have to do some foiling. So I've cut out fitting pieces of this beautiful gold iridescent foil with the stars on it, one for each foil art sheet I'm going to foil now. So pretty side up, I put the foil on top of my foil art sheets. And I make sure that there's no dust or anything in between my foil art sheet and my foil. Then I simply took a piece of a printed paper and folded it in half. This is my carrier sheet for my laminator, which is going to foil my foil art sheets now. My laminator is heated up and I'm going to send all my foil art sheets one by one through the laminator now. And here you can see the first reveal. It's foiled beautifully and all the sentiments are foiled. Here is the smile sheet. I love the big smiles. You really can use them for any occasion. Next reveal is this background with the circles. Isn't that beautiful? Can you see the stars in the foil? And here are the big dots, which I really like as well. In my next step, I want to color these foil art sheets, because in white I don't think they fit to the paper I'm going to use very well. So I looked through my stash and I chose these 3 colors of distress oxides, which is broken china, Victorian velvet and rustic wilderness. These 3 colors fit perfectly to the pattern in the paper. So as you can see, I started out by smooshing some of the broken china on my work surface and I sprayed some water on it. And now I'm going to tap the foil art sheet into the ink. And then I'm going to dry the ink. And then I tap it again to get some more intense colors, and I also color the other foil art sheets. I'm not covering the entire foil art sheet yet because I want to use the Victorian velvet as well. So the ink sticks to the white surfaces of the foil art sheets. It is also on the golden parts first, but it's pretty easy to get it off. You just use a dry tissue towel and then you rub off the ink of the foiled parts. And then as you see, they are shining again, just as new. I waited until the blue was completely dry before I added my Victorian velvet to the foil art sheets, because I didn't want to mix the colors. I wanted to have them separately on my foil art sheet. So as you watch me coloring all my foil art sheets, I can tell you more about Kendra's Card Challenge, in case you're not familiar with it yet. Kendra's Card Challenge is a free quarterly challenge where Kendra from the YouTube channel Cards by Kendra puts out a free PDF with 15 card sketches. Although this month it's even 18 card sketches that can be made out of 6 sheets of 6 by 6 inch patterned paper. And this free PDF does not only include all the measurements for the 15 or 18 individual sketches, but it also includes a cutting guide for your patterned paper. And if you follow this cutting guide, you have all the papers you need for making the card sketches. You just have to add your matting layers. And that's a great and easy, fun way to make unique cards quickly and easily. So you should really try it because it's great fun. And the link to download this free PDF is of course in my description box. So I'm now rubbing off the Victorian velvet of my foiled foil art sheets. And as you see, they're shining and you can see these beautiful iridescent stars as well. I really love how the papers turned out, and it's so easy to make the foil art sheets in the colors you want to have them. So here are the final foil art sheets, and as you see, the colors are a perfect match to the patterned paper I'm going to use. Just one more thing I want to say, you can also use the usual distress ink techniques, like adding water droplets to get even more texture on your foil art. I use a dry tissue towel to remove some of the ink. And I really always love this effect, don't you? Now it's time to put together our cards. As I said, I'm going to use 2 card sketches, and I'm going to make each of the sketches twice. For each of the sketches I use one of the patterned paper sheets and one of the foil art sheets. But I'm going to change their positions in my 2 versions just to show you how different the cards look just depending on which paper or foil art sheet you use on which position. So now I'm cutting my papers according to the measurements given in the free PDF. What I also have to mention is that on the sketches there's often a layer of the patterned paper as well as a matting layer below that. In my case, I want to make the matting for myself, so I don't use a paper below my patterned paper. Instead, I'm going to use foil or ink on the edges of my patterned paper and foil art sheets to make kind of a faux matting layer. So the measurements I use are not the ones for the patterned papers for my sketches, but rather the ones for the matting layers, that I have the space for my faux matting on my patterned paper. I hope that makes sense if you see what I'm doing. I already started with sketch number 3 here. So I have used some double-sided tape on the edges of my patterned paper. And I'm covering all 4 of the edges. And then I have a piece of foil and I simply put it on top of the double-sided adhesive. And that way I get a gilded edge for my patterned paper. And I think it looks really, really nice. And it fits perfect to the foil art sheets, which I'm also going to use for the sketch. So this is the first of my faux matting layers. I did the same to the second sheet, to the foil art sheet, which I'm also going to use for the sketch. But for the foil art sheet, I thought that the matting layer was too thick, so I cut the edges of the paper a little bit so that the gilded edge was smaller. And then I put it on top of my paper. And there you see the 2 versions of the sketch, one with the foil art in the background and the patterned paper in the foreground, and the other version with the foil art sheet in the center and the patterned paper in the background. I have also cut out the sentiment, the smile, and I also cut out 2 of these smaller sentiments to complement my smile sentiment as well. Afterwards, I used the same Distress Oxide broken china to color in my sentiments so that they match perfectly to the papers I used. And as before, I use a dry tissue towel to get the ink off my foil. For the placement of the sentiments, I used the bottom just about as given in the card sketch. And as you see, I didn't only use broken china, but I used also the Victorian velvet for my other smile sentiment for the second card. For adhering the sentiments to the cards, I used foam tape to get some extra dimension. So here are my 2 versions of sketch number 3 finished. Can you see how different they look, although I used the same 2 patterned papers and foil sheets? Which one do you like better? Let me know in the comments. Alright, so now we're doing the same thing with sketch number 6. And this time I'm not using foil for the faux matting layer on the edges, but I rather use ink. As the process for these 2 versions of the card sketch number 6 are pretty much the same as shown before, it's time to come back to Kendra's card challenge. Because with Kendra's card challenge you can win great prizes. And all you have to do to enter the prize drawing is upload 1 photo with all the 18 cards you made with the challenge number 18 to an InLinkz party. And there is an InLinkz party link for each of the 3 months of the quarter for which the challenge is running. And you can enter the challenge once per month, so 3 times per quarter. The link to the correct InLinkz party is given through a QR code on the last page of the free PDF. There's also a Facebook group, Kendra's Card Challenges, and I highly recommend you to join there as well because you get great inspiration as well as support if you need it. At the end of each month, Kendra puts out a video on her YouTube channel, Cards by Kendra, and there she draws the prizes, and there are monthly and quarterly prizes. One thing I didn't mention already is if you download the challenge, you have to join Patreon. It's a completely free option and you don't have to pay anything, but you have to give your email address. There are also paid options for Kendra's Patreon, and I really recommend you to check them out as well. So these are the 2 versions of sketch number 6 finished as well. Wasn't that really quick? I didn't even have the time to tell you that this video is part of a giveaway hop, and there's a playlist linked in my description box with all the videos participating. And I really encourage you to watch all the videos. There is also a form linked in my description box, which you have to fill in until the 13th of May 2025 for your chance to enter the prize drawing for this giveaway hop. Good luck to you all, and I hope you like my cards. If you do, please leave me a like or a comment, and I would be very glad if you would subscribe to my channel if you have not already done so. See you next time, servus!